I did everything he said, and my net worth is still below average for my age. Dave Ramsey is a profiteer of bad financial advice. Today we're going to be talking about the 7 baby steps to wealth, and I'm going to mathematically prove that this is very, very bad advice.
That the baby steps is freaking genius. And because it is.
I'm just going to do a really quick back of the envelope calculation on what happens if you actually follow Dave Ramsey's advice. We're going to invent a hypothetical version of somebody based on averages from the US. And we're going to see what happens when this person follows the baby steps. First of all, Mr. Ramsey recommends college for 98% of people.
98% of you need to go to school.
So we're going to follow his advice. We're going to go to university. I don't even think Dave's own children are working through college, but let's continue. The average living expenses for a college student is $14,700 a year.
It's your fault.
All right, so when we consider our income, that only leaves us with about $400 a year. So we're going to need to take student loans. So for the first year, you're $11,000 in debt and you have $431. Time to start baby step 1.
Baby step 1 is $1,000 cash in the bank. That's your very first one. I want you to do that really, really quickly.
Okay, we got 400. Now for the second year of following Dave Ramsey's advice, we're $23,000 in debt and we have $862 in our emergency fund. Year 3, we finally saved up $1,000. Now it's on to baby step 2.
Baby step 2 is you do the debt snowball.
If you've been following along, we now have $35,000 in debt. All right, final year of college, we now have $46,000 in student loans. Time to get a real job and start paying down that debt, just like Dave Ramsey's second commandment tells us to. I'm going to use the average college graduate income for the rest of the time here. Obviously, you won't be making that right out of college. You might not even get a job right away, but I'm just going to use $59,000. It'll all average out in the end. So you call into Dave's show. You say that you're almost $50,000 into debt, and what does he say? Live like a hermit. Rice and beans, beans and rice. So using this budget right here, you're going to live on $18,978 a year, and you're going to put all your cash, the remaining $40,000, towards your debt. Doesn't sound that bad, right? You've almost paid off your entire loan in a year. But what you aren't thinking about is the other things that you could have done with that $40,000. Starting a business, investing, doing fucking anything else. But those things are not what Sifu recommends. I've got a video right here talking about student loans, but we're not following my advice here. We're following the advice of a rich, good-hearted Christian man. At the end of this, we'll surely be rich like him, right? Next year, year 6, 15% of the way into the year, you've paid off your student loan. Can I get a debt-free scream? And now you've unlocked Dave's debt-free budgeting system. Now, he says save 10% and donate 10%, but giving is not until step 7. So how about we just save 20% of our after-tax income? So now, as the devoted followers we are, we're going to move on to baby step 3.
And then baby step 3, you're going to finish your emergency fund 3 to 6 months of expenses and savings.
Okay, I guess it sounds reasonable, I guess. The next year, year 7, we finally have our emergency fund. Thank God. When can we buy a house?
So don't buy a home until you're debt-free, have your emergency fund plus a down payment.
How much does he say that we need to put down? Really, he wants us to put down 100%.
I love the 100% down plan.
But Sensei Ramsey will not get mad at you if you only put down 20%. So how much house can you afford?
But the most you should borrow is a home on a 15-year fixed rate where the payment is no more than a fourth of your take-home pay.
Oh, all right. I mean, I guess if that's what he says, I guess I'll follow that advice. Also, good luck getting a low rate when your only credit history is your student loans. So, a fourth of your monthly take-home pay, that's only $963. With a 15-year mortgage, that means you can only borrow $130K. If you put 20% down, that's a $163,000 house. Gotta listen to Dave, gotta listen to Dave. Keep telling yourself that he's an expert.
Join the cult. Shave your head and drink the Kool-Aid, right? Submit yourself to a winning process.
Maybe you have a wife that can help you pay. Maybe you don't. Maybe your wife just stays at home and takes care of the kids, just like the Lord intended. But it's okay. I found this 700 square foot cabin that satisfies our budget and is only 48 minutes from the nearest civilization. Following Dave's saving advice, it takes you 3 years to get the down payment to pay for the house. So after 10 long years of following Dave Ramsey's advice, your net worth is in the low 5 figures. Can I get a low 5-figure scream? Now, moving on to the next baby step. Step 4, save for retirement. Step 5, save for your children's college fund. Step 6, pay off your home early. Now, really, this should all be the same step because DR is telling you to do this all at the same time. Finally, we can start investing. I'll be generous and give us a very consistent 8% compounding a year. Let's skip forward 12 years and you'll finally have enough to pay for your kids' college. Don't ask me what happens if you have 2 kids. It already took long enough to pay for 1 kid, and your retirement still has a long way to go. Speaking of that, let's calculate how much you need for retirement. Well, you're gonna need to replace $59,000 in income. We're just gonna use 4% as your drawdown rate. This means to retire you need $1,333,290. And 2 years later, if you've been keeping track, we have now paid off the house. Doesn't sound that bad, right? If we went with the 30-year mortgage, we would still have 15 years left to go. It sounds good until you find out that if you went with the 30-year mortgage, all other things remaining equal, if you had invested that extra monthly money, you would be $37,000 richer than you are now. Okay, but whatever. We're still devoted. We are still following the cult leader. How long is it gonna take us to finish baby step 4? It's gonna take you 18 more years at least until you get to step 7. And you can retire, not comfortably, but at the same lifestyle you were living before, with $1.3 million. You'll be 62 years old when this happens. In other words, if you follow this advice, you won't retire early and you won't get rich. And now you're thinking to yourself, Dave told me I would be wealthy. I would be very, very wealthy. I did everything he said, never touched a credit card, and I got really, really lucky. I never had to use my emergency fund, never got fired, never got cancer, never had any other family members with medical issues, never got sued, and my net worth is still below average for my age. I said below average, not below median. All those times Sifu told you, I'm rich, follow my advice. Well, guess what, Dave Ramsey? The only person getting rich from your advice is you. It's kind of weird that nobody ever calls in and say, hey, I followed your advice and now I'm rich. It's always people calling in saying, I'm $100,000 in debt and I work at McDonald's. What should I do? It's because if anyone smart called in, he would be exposed for the charlatan he is. He always does this weird thing where he talks down to his cult followers.
It's your fault. You work your butt off your whole life.
Even the name Baby Steps is so condescending when you consider that it takes your entire life just to get to the last step. It's almost as if he knows that the people that listen to him are financially illiterate simpletons. I haven't even talked about the debt snowball. You might also notice that I used 8% for my examples when Dave tells everybody that you can get 12%.
Are they going to get 12%? No. They might get 14. Are they going to get 14? No. They might get 18.
Or that he recommends withdrawing 8% from your retirement fund, not 4%. All those things have already been talked to death by a whole bunch of other people, but nobody else has really gone through the full simulation of what happens when you follow the 7 baby steps, and that's what happens. You don't get rich.